WandaVision is 9 episodes, so if we treat every 3 episodes as an act, this should approximate the new one, episode 3, as the end of the first act. Therefore, structurally, it's ironically the belly of the whale stage, where the hero has taken their first steps into a journey where they can't go back.
Every new father-to-be gets nervous.
Well, I have nerves of steel, so there goes your theory, Mr. Doctor.
Vision, why don't...
As good old Joseph Campbell said, the hero, instead of conciliating the power of the threshold, is swallowed into the unknown and would have appeared to have died. Gee, I wonder how this is symbolized in the episode.
Oh, she left, honey. She had to rush home.
Episode 3 is all about confirming the audience's suspicions about Wanda being the mastermind orchestrator of everything, and develops it to the point that it ignites the prospect that she may even be the antagonist of the show.
Hey, I'll take a shift rocking the babies.
No, I think you should leave.
The episode is broken into 3 distinct phases. The first is about conveying Vision's happiness but with suspicions.
I don't know, everything's happening so quickly. We'd like to keep the news just in family for right now. Of course.
During the doctor's appointment for Wanda's sudden pregnancy, Vision is confused, and there's a very specific gag that happens afterwards where his neighbor accidentally goes too far with his hedge trimmer and cuts deeply into the wall.
Think you might have taken the hedge trimming a little too far there, old chum. So I have.
On one hand, it's very clearly just a joke that reminds us of the dissonance between the people that populate this world and their roles. While on the other hand, it's like an introductory metaphor for how Vision's concern and overcaring attitude is like a blade that's unconsciously piercing the wall of this fantasy.
Outside with her. I think something's wrong here, Wanda.
Subsequently, this reaches its conclusion when Vision shares his concerns with Wanda, and she simply redoes and rewrites the scenes.
Yes, I know what you mean.
The second phase is the rupture, where holes begins to puncture this fantasy.
Do you think they know it's my fault?
Our neighbors.
Well, yes. With all the close calls we've been having, it seems the people of Westview are always on the verge of discovering our secret.
Geraldine, a neighbor that Wanda made friends with in episode 2, shows up when Vision leaves. Geraldine is also Monica Rambeau, who's an established and distinct character in her own right. Therefore, the way she looks around for a bucket and wanting to socialize with Wanda, it's all a ruse because she's actually investigating. There's also a gag here where Wanda tries to hide a baby bump with objects like fruit bowls and whatnot, and Geraldine is ignorant every time, which highlights a question. Does this mean everyone wasn't as cartoonishly gullible in the last episode, and they were just acting? Or is everyone like Vision where they are products of the fantasy, but they do have enough autonomy to be unpredictable within the set boundaries?
Thanks, buddy.
Regardless, Geraldine also delivers the baby. Which on one hand introduces the idea that Wanda has the potential to wake up and redeem herself, because things aren't as bad as they seem.
Yes, you can. You can do this.
And on the other hand, I may just be putting too much thought into this, Vision returns for the Doctor and misses the first birth, but is present for the twin, so he's literally only half present.
Oh, well done, Wanda.
He's unconsciously and naturally deviating from the intended experience of the fantasy. The final phase is the wedge. The episode begins to paint Wanda as a villain. When the Doctor leaves, he emphasizes the words,
So hard to escape.
and the neighbor also gossip in fear.
I hope. Hey, buddy.
Therefore, a sense of antagonism begins to brew. Wanda also remembers her brother for a moment. Her accent pops back, and she even sings in Sokovian to her babies, which indicates she's not entirely ignorant of her true identity.
I'm a twin. I had a brother.
So this might not be a mind control situation. Additionally, the perspective shifts from hers to Geraldine's, for the reason that a tense electric beat begins to play, and it contrasts to the rest of the goofy sitcom period soundtrack.
I said...
And as the audience, we begin to fear for her life because she brings up Ultron, which causes Wanda to change her tone completely.
What did you say about Pietro?
Consequently, after Monica's gone, there's a super sinister shot of Wanda hiding the truth from Vision and adjusting the aspect ratio from 4:3 to 16:9, while a whole massive operation monitors outside, so the scale is way bigger than we thought. Alright, let's see what the broader narrative theory stage tells us about where WandaVision is possibly going with its trauma metaphor, because from the way Wanda reacts to Monica, it indicates that this fantasy is built around a sensitive spot in her psychology. All this domestic life stuff, from having dinner with the bars to having children, is like decoration around a wound that hasn't fully healed, and therefore cannot withstand scrutiny or pressure.
Where's Geraldine?
Oh, she left, honey.
Functionally, the Belly of the Whale stage, or stage 5, is centered around the idea of the hero fully separating from the known in order to be fully immersed and learn from the unknown. Campbell argued that this involves a form of self-annihilation, because to grow and to learn requires letting your defenses down and absorbing things that contradict what you previously believed in.
What if this time I didn't go back?
But you gave Stark your word.
I'd rather give it to you.
Well, there are people who are expecting me too, you know. We both made promises. No.
Therefore, the purpose of the stage in Act 1 is to prepare the hero to be reborn in Act 2. This is all paraphrased from page 77, by the way. In the show, if we treat not only the first 2 episodes as Act 1, but also her entire journey from the MCU, then this fantasy world and the baby stuff is the annihilation of her younger, more responsible self. The person who once reminded Vision of his responsibility over their love and was willing to kill him to save everyone, is now the one sacrificing everyone else for this very relationship. Therefore, the symbolic meaning of the baby is not just an evolution of their marriage, but another step in her journey, separating from what is known, from that other person. Furthermore, if you unpack this with the trauma theories, this notion of sacrificing a relationship with reality and conflating what isn't means we're dealing with the relationship between the nature of emotions and memory, for the reason that one of the main aspects of trauma is the way it inhibits the individual from being able to be in control of how they remember the past or use their memories, because it's like poking a wound. This is obviously characterized by the mention of Ultron, her twin, and I think to an extent the existence of her babies as twins.
I'm a twin.
Because she wasn't expecting to have more than one child, so she was trying to author a new story, but unexpectedly kept reusing her past and therefore poking it. I assume this is going to play a much bigger role in later episodes. Or it's also because she has twins in the comics and I'm thinking way too deeply about this. Subsequently, the application of the hero's journey currently here is not to show the protagonist overcoming their trauma, but succumbing to it. We're watching Wanda's downfall unfold. However, Paul Bettany did say that the show will eventually evolve into a more conventional MCU climax, so presumably Wanda as a baddie currently is merely a red herring.
What did you say?
And something else is present. And for the reason that, once again, A, the advertisement features a Hydra product, and we're still not given any clues that Wanda is aware of these ads. B, we don't see Wanda directly throw Monica out, instead it's implied in the editing. C, Monica breaks her cover by trying to carefully remind Wanda of reality, as opposed to, I don't know, being a little bit more aggressive and kicking her in the ovaries and hitting her with a syringe or something. Therefore, possibly, Wanda is an innocent party in all this, that's a subject to someone else's manipulation, or at least is seen as such by the authorities. And this is supported by D. Monica is an agent of SWORD. In the comics, SWORD is normally a space organization run by a chick with green hair and green sunglasses, which infers that there's some sort of outer cosmic force present here. It could be Dormammu, hence a link to Doctor Strange or even Mojo, although I really doubt that one. But regardless, the current darkest outcome is that Wanda will simply become the antagonist of the show, of the big showdown. Or, more optimistically, she will be revealed to be complicit to everything. Paul Bettany also said there's going to be an unexpected cameo in the show, so I don't know, it could be Pietro could reappear.
You didn't see that coming?
Or even Baron von Strucker, hence the Hydra connections. Or maybe even Wong, because no one can beat Wong.
Thanks, buddy.
Why do I write in such stupidly long sentences? It's making it so hard for me